So this week I'm starting in the stats section of the MLS, just to kind of give an idea of what's the market doing. As of a couple of weeks ago, when I started talking about the rental market in Phoenix and the state of the market, the MLS hadn't caught up yet with July. So now we have a pretty good idea from the MLS's numbers what July looks like. However, again, when I throw the caveat out here for the MLS is great for sales, right? It's really reflective of what the sales market is doing. However, the rental market, the sample size just isn't quite what you'd expect it to be. And this month, it kind of reflects that. What I want to do is go through the numbers really quickly and then give you our perspective on it based on what we're seeing as well. Just to kind of wrap up, I wanted to do this three-part series and was hoping, honestly, I thought that the numbers on the MLS would reflect differently. I thought they'd be more in line with what we're actually seeing, but they're not. So that then poses the question is what is it the MLS is really reflecting? All right, so let's start up here when it comes to, let's see, what are you seeing? There you go. Okay. The absorption rate for residential, this is on the sales side. So absorption rate went up a little bit, showing that the market has softened a little on the sales side from June to July, which we kind of saw. People are getting a little tired of the market. It was also super, super, super hot, and have to associate that heat wave with people not wanting to get out and look for houses, both for rent and for sale. I mean, I think there's a piece of that is just part of the narrative that we don't know how to quantify yet, and I think that's really, really, really important. I mean, it was so hot here. This week, I saw a post on this Scottsdale Living Facebook page. They were talking about this post as to this or that, and what is the what people are paying in electric this month, and how it just skyrocketed in July because the price just came out. And even in my house, right, we have solar, and the value, we were home for only half the month, and the price was higher than any other month that we've had, and we weren't even home for half the month. So people's electric bills are just shooting through the roof. So I think it's really starting to hit people as to what's going on with that. All right, but back to this inventory for residential. We saw a little bit of an increase on the active side. We saw a decrease on the sold side. So yes, says the same thing. Absorption rates going up, sales are going down. More properties are hitting the market. And then look at here, prices for residential. For those that actually sold, there was a pretty substantial drop. I mean, when you look at this right here. Okay, now getting into days on market, again, tough to see because there's still such a shortage of inventory, but even less demand. We're seeing price ratio for residential. We're seeing that this is the sale to original. So people are getting closer to what they're listing it, which just means that agents are listing their properties more realistically. That's how I look at that. Prices for residential rental, same type of thing. We're seeing across the board, we saw a similar average price from June to July, but we did see an uptick down here. Why I think that is because, again, we're seeing more luxury properties and we're seeing price points that are a little bit higher, which, let me see if I can move this thing here. Oh, I can't. That's not helpful. All right. So what this is inventory for residential rental. This shows where the inventory is on the MLS right now. And if you see this gap between new listings and active listings, there's a huge gap here, right? And on the rental side, the gap that we see has to do with furnished rentals and negotiated furnished rentals. And we talked about this a little bit last week, but the numbers are skewed on the rental side because of these furnished rentals and negotiated furnished rentals, because that's a short-term rental that has the option of going either way, right? And there's a lot of them right now on the MLS compared to what we'd seen in the past. If you look at price ratio for residential rental, look at that. That went down again. So where people had it originally listed to the point where it was at 96.5%. So people are offering discounts, which does play into what we're seeing too. The residential rental days on market shows that it went down to 34.2, which also aligns with what we saw here right now. What we're seeing is we did see a little bit of a slowdown this week. However, we saw an uptick with the amount of traffic from applications that we saw. We're processing more applications this week than we did the last week or the week before that. So that's interesting. July was historically low, but not as slow as we saw last month. That was very, very slow compared to the amount of properties that we had on the market. Um, let's see, price reductions. We did a price reduction on at least a third of our doors from 1 week to the next. Now, one thing that's different about what we do on the leasing side, our owners and you all see the Tuesday updates. Every Tuesday, you're getting the metrics as to how many showings. You're seeing how many people saw it, how many people saw it online. Like, we're tracking these numbers because it helps us in painting a better narrative. On Thursdays, every other Thursday, we have a sales meeting, and I've got 5 agents here in the office that are licensed realtors that show your properties when it's time to get out there and see it. It helps us in understanding, like, what's wrong, why aren't they renting, and not what's wrong all the time. A lot of times it's what's great, right? But it's putting people out there looking at these things and getting real feedback. It's, in my opinion, it's a value of putting an agent out there, showing these properties every week or each time there's a showing. But on those Thursdays, we talk through, where is that breakdown. On your Tuesday updates, you're getting, hey, how many leads did you get? When we're converting leads to showings, and then from showings to leases, applications to leases, like, there's this whole life cycle. And in a more normalized market, like, we're able to see these trends, and you're really able to tell, okay, what piece is broken, what happened this week, what was the struggle. Did we have a struggle converting people from anticipated showings to actually getting them there, whatever that might look like. This stuff is helpful when I can sit down with the team and they can all hash it out as well individually, and we talk together and say, hey, what's one person doing and having more success over here? We do track the success of each person individually. So if one person's having a lot of success handling this, cool, we can see it over here. This week, again, the team did recognize that it's a little tough out there right now. But again, with all the price drops this week, it was definitely more helpful in getting them out there and filling properties. Let's see. The price point that we're seeing right now, anything over 2,500, we're seeing sitting longer. Was feedback from those guys and gal. And then again, to that point, the price reductions. I think that, seeing where the market is going right now, I think the MLS is tough for different, like, just telling us what's going to happen. We see right now a saturation. We're going to have a lot of properties on the market here in a second. And with that, the turns are going to be super important. We're working on a new process on that end, which we're super excited about. We'll share more with you as we roll that out. We've had an amazing conversation today at lunch that really talked through with the entire team, what the formula needs to look like in order to have success and to create a win-win for everybody that's in that, making sure that our properties are getting rented super fast. So let's see what happens. We're excited about it, just getting more feedback, other things for us to fix. I mean, that's the name of the game. That's kind of why I'm in the business, right? It keeps me excited, keeps me engaged, coming back every day, every week, and wanting us to just continue to improve on this process that it can be made better every single week. That's the rental market. And I think realistically, this has been a very challenging rental market, and we're still going through these changes. But as long as we can keep making positive strides and fixing what we think is broken or trying new things, it's all we can do. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.